Alright, ladies and gentlemen, tonight the stars are right. They are not, however, to the left. For some reason, there are no longer any stars to the left of our studio. The, Banu have assured us that this is definitely not the result of hyperdimensional portal testing gone appallingly wrong, and, well, who are we to argue? I'm Arkimedes, and you are listening to Radio Voscod. Radio Voscod is a free public hypercast. It is provided free of charge because, as we know, information wants to be free. And the program is funded in part through a generous grant from the Trade Coalition for the Allied Proletariat's Ministry of Culture, as well as through donations from listeners like you. Listeners, there is a war coming, and no matter who you are or what ideology you follow, chances are you're gonna get caught up in it one way or another. I am, of course, referring to Operation Pitchfork. For those of you not in the know, Pitchfork is a large-scale paramilitary operation that has been in the planning stages for several months now, the goal of which is to invade and occupy Vanduul space. The operation has been spearheaded by a number of private organizations, including several notable PMCs, mercenary groups, and anarcho-libertarian collectives. They say they are doing the job the fascist United Earth Empire have failed to do, namely in protecting their interests from the unwashed alien hordes hell-bent on destroying their way of life. Well, earlier today, the fascist United Earth Empire released a public statement regarding Operation Pitchfork. Quote, "As the vanguard of humanity, the United Earth Imperial Government cannot tolerate such vigilante actions by private citizens to encroach on the territories of another sovereign government. The merciless subjugation and genocide of the subhuman alien hordes is not a job for amateurs, and should instead be left to the might of humanity's best in the UEE naval forces. Any brave citizens willing to brutally snuff the life from the disgusting extraterrestrial scum should instead enlist in the glorious UEE Navy. Long live the Empire." End quote. Now, naturally, many of the organizations involved have condemned the fascist UEE's condemnation. One of the groups sent out their own press release just a few minutes ago. William Robert Clemson III, a representative from the Rearguard Armed Citizens International Space Militia, is quoted as saying, "This is just another expected betrayal from those lily-livered cowards in the UEE. The Empire couldn't protect its citizens from an alien fleet attacking its colonies any more than it could protect us all from a space whale's fart. These Vanduul savages represent an existential threat to the citizens of space everywhere, and it is our sacred duty to wipe them from the stars. Sure, there hasn't been a Vanduul invasion in decades, but what have these aliens done for us? Stealing our jobs and teaching our children to listen to rap music? It's disgusting. And that name, Vanduul, what does that remind you of? Vanduuls, of course. Teenagers in hoodies with boomboxes, spray painting my Starfarer with gang signs. Or a 5th century Germanic tribe from Earth, which might be just as bad." Concluding his statements, William Robert then fired a shotgun into the air, and an impromptu hoedown immediately commenced. So, as you can see, it's a bit of a heated subject at the moment. More as it develops. Okay, Drake Interplanetary announced today that they are halting indefinitely the manufacture of their recent Drake Marauder cargo hauler due to criticism that it is designed solely for use by criminal organizations, which is reflected in its somewhat unfortunate name. Now, Drake has in the past been criticized for manufacturing spacecraft implicitly designed for use by pirates and other outlaws, despite their insistence that their ships, including the venerable Cutlass and Caterpillar, are designed solely for humanitarian and civil use. Okay, this is utter nonsense. Let me ask you a question, listeners. What is the more affordable choice? An Anvil Hornet or a Drake Cutlass? Or how about an Origin 890 Jump or a Caterpillar? See, I'd say in both those scenarios, Drake wins pretty handily in both price and capability. So why is Drake still maligned as a pirate manufacturer even today? Because those corporate plutocrats whose wallets have pulled the strings of the fascist United Earth Empire for centuries feel threatened. Drake Interplanetary has committed one crime, and one crime only. They made spaceflight affordable to more than just the inordinately wealthy. Okay, now you might say, but Arkimedes, aren't you running an outlaw station? Wouldn't you naturally be biased in favor of Drake Interplanetary? Yes, it is true that Radio Voscod hypercasts from a lone cutlass in an unspecified location in deep space, and it is also well known that our station has received grants from the Trade Coalition for the Allied Proletariat, a revolutionary vanguard party. But we are not, as some have accused, outlaws, nor do we support overt criminal activities by the less civic-minded of our brethren. And the same could be said of Drake Interplanetary. Look, contrary to their reputation as a supplier of pirates, no other manufacturer has contributed more to the furthering of affordable spaceflight than Drake. Yes, some of their ships have been notably used by certain criminal groups, and yes, the naming patterns for their line of spacecraft can, at times, carry unfortunate connotations. But is that really so damning? After all, many pirate gangs have been seen flying Anvil Hornet fighters, but no one ever accuses Anvil Aerospace of deliberately marketing to criminals. Listeners, this is nothing more than the result of a long-running pro-corporate smear campaign against the one company willing to stand up for the working class. No other group has done more to help the average citizen achieve that inherent human dream to fly than Drake. And they deserve more than just your contempt. But let's move on. Here is a word from one of our sponsors. Drake Interplanetary is pleased to announce our latest offering, the Drake Bloodletter. This heavily armed and armored hospital ship is equipped with cutting-edge technology to get it in and out of potentially dangerous situations. And its suite of advanced medical equipment and ample storage space for pharmaceuticals make it a perfect addition to your search and rescue fleet or humanitarian mission. Drake Interplanetary, helping to relieve you of your burdens. In media news, the release of Original Entertainment's long-awaited space combat simulator Arena Commander is almost here. Listeners may recall that tragedy struck last month when the chairman of Original was critically injured after he crashed his Anvil Hornet fighter into a free-floating landing platform. The chairman was departing the debut presentation of Arena Commander at the Perseus Arcturus Trade Expo. Colleagues reported that the chairman seemed agitated after a series of technical mishaps and glitches which plagued the presentation, and was seen to be drinking heavily before the accident. Now, reports say that the chairman has been recovering well, and may even be out of medical care by the time the game has been released, which is great news. We here at Radio Voscod wish him the very best, and are just beside ourselves in anticipation for this sure-to-be groundbreaking entertainment simulator. More on Operation Pitchfork. Things got a bit more complicated earlier today when a group of Vanduul colonists was sighted near Terran space. This, of course, has the many organizations involved in Pitchfork a bit hot and bothered. But reports from Fringe Space indicate that these colonists are simply seeking a home in local territories, and wish no harm upon their new neighbors. And now, of course, we humans have very long memories. Most of us still remember, through history books at least, the destruction of the human colony of Armitage some 300 years ago by an unprovoked Vanduul attack. Though something tells me these colonists probably aren't the same ones as those raiders 3 centuries back. The group occupied a small sector spinward of Terra and has settled down on one of the planets there. While the fascist UEE have blockaded the system until further notice, they are also prohibiting any Pitchfork member organization from entering the area, much to their chagrin. Radio Voscod has attempted to reach the colonists for comment, so we'll keep you up to date as this develops. And, let's take a look at traffic. Traffic today is brought to you by the Crimson Permanent Assurance. Having financial trouble? Can't quite budget for that new spaceship? The CPA is here to help. Remain stationary. They know where you are, and they are coming for you. You cannot hide from the Crimson Permanent Assurance. They are here to help. You need help. Do not reject the help of strangers. Okay, a major shipping accident in Spider today slowed traffic to a halt when a starfarer crashed into one of the many rocky crags of the independent colony. First responders were immediately dispatched to the site of the accident, as well as several search and rescue ships provided by a few of the upstanding private organizations operating in the sector. Survivors were immediately extracted from the stricken vessel and taken to emergency medical facilities, while the ship itself was stripped of anything considered a potential hazard to civilian shipping, before being towed to the nearest dockyards to be broken down and sold for scrap. Isn't it nice to see people working for the betterment of others? The humanitarian efforts of those brave rescuers today warms even my old heart. That said, expect delays if you're flying through the area. Okay, let's take a bit of a look at sports. This year's Formula 300 season is shaping up to be a particularly heated one, as teams from all over the galaxy have been forced to contend with new engine regulations across the board. Perennial champions and iron-fisted energy drink conglomerate Red Bull Racing have been hit particularly hard, as allegations erupted over suspicions that they are in fact running an M50 disguised to look like a Formula Standard 350R, in violation of several race regulations. And now Red Bull have denied these claims as outlandish, saying instead that across-the-board problems with the new RSI engines being fielded by most F300 teams this year are to blame for inconsistent equipment readings. Immortal God Emperor of the Formula International Association, Bernie Eccleston, has promised a thorough investigation, which will hopefully conclude before next week's Grand Prix at Cathcart. We'll be sure to keep you up to date as the season progresses. Listeners, breaking news. Earlier today, we dispatched one of our unmanned journalism drones to hopefully retrieve a statement from the Vanduul colonists. Well, listeners, the Vanduul have just sent us an official statement concerning their situation and Operation Pitchfork, as well as the shattered and mangled remains of Drone 382. Quote, "We would like to address those who wish to unjustly attack and kill our kind. We officially condemn such unjustified and unprovoked vigilantism, and implore the civilized species of the galaxy to seek diplomatic solutions to their conflicts. We are, after all, citizens of the universe, which has no borders or divisions. The Vanduul are a peaceful race. We enjoy culture and music and art, much like you humans do. We have a storied history and a beautiful empire. This planned attack is no more than veiled xenophobia. Strip away the differences in appearance and biology, and you will find that we have more in common than you think. Our empire therefore implores you to reconsider this hasty military operation and work towards the peace and betterment of all sapient races. Violence is never the answer. Likewise, if any attempt to attack our space or shipping occurs, we shall paint the stars with your blood and hang your skulls from the spires of our homes, as a warning to any who follow. Your ships shall burn brighter than the countless stars in the galaxy, and your agony shall see no end. Thank you very much for your time." Well, listeners, I don't think there's much more to be said. The planning for Operation Pitchfork continues at full stride, and it remains to be seen whether it will end with a righteous crusade in the service of humanity, or a foolhardy expedition run by a determined band of xenophobic bigots. Time will tell, of course, and we will continue to follow the operation and keep you updated. Well, it appears the stars to our left have returned. There are now stars to our left, as well as to our right. There are stars forward and back, above and below. We are surrounded by stars, and each one of them holds the potential of new places to explore and new friends to meet. They are infinite, and so are we. Well, in spirit, anyway. The Banu have assured us that the reappearance of these stars is definitely not the result of old sleeping gods wielding terrible powers to right the cosmos in the face of lesser species tampering with the natural order, and, well, who are we to argue? Listeners, wherever you are, may your path be forever lined with stars. May they keep you warm and light your way. You have been listening to Radio Voscod. This is Arkimedes, signing off.